Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Foodie with Trudy. I'm your host, Trudy. I'm here today with Aminu, Kachi, Skip, and possibly Edosa. We'll see if he attends. Today we're going to have a good old-fashioned debate and talk about our best midfielder of the Premier League era. KDB's performance has had me thinking about who is actually better than him. I told the guys I've been going through a lot of recency bias, seeing what he's doing in the Premier League. Is he just a step above everybody? Is everybody below? That's what we're here to discuss, and for everybody to pick who they think their best is over the years. I'm going to start with William. Who do you think is better than KDB, and who do you think is your best
I
midfielder
think
of all time?
so. I think KDB has done it for like 5, 6 years now, so I see why
Only?
people are made. Eh?
Is
Yeah,
it
but
only
like
5, 6 years?
no, my okay. The way I look at it is like someone like Rodri now has only done it for 4. But if
Mm.
Rodri goes again and do what he has been doing for like 4 years for another 3 years, then we'll be calling him as one of the greatest. Is
Mm-hmm.
that to be like, oh yeah, just doing it for 3 years, or like we're putting that expectation of 10 years on people is almost impossible.
Yeah, because
It's
of Messi and
almost
Ronaldo.
impossible. The Messi and Ronaldo, like even there's other player that have been at that top of for like 10 straight years or 10 straight years. Like you cannot be like, oh no, that did not happen, because those ones are just the exception. So that's why, like, even looking at my list,
There is.
like I didn't put Rodri get there on my list
Okay.
because Rodri has only done it for 4 years. But I would like to give him a shout out. Like
Okay.
I'm looking at someone the Vieras, I'm looking at Roy Keane, I'm looking at Kante, I'm looking at Fabregas, like uh I'm looking at all those guys and what they've done for CM, just to talk about CM,
Mm-hmm.
like it's been incredible. So at the end of the day, when I'm looking at
Best.
my top three
Mm.
CM, I went with Gerard, Lampard, and Viera. Those are
That's
my
very
top
interesting.
three, like Lampard, Gerard, and Viera. I went with that. Uh, but at the end of the day, I was looking at Gerard, how much I love him and how much he plays and all of that. He never won the EPL. Like if you are the best in something, you need to win it at least once. Like you can't. And I know like there's a
Why is
lot
it
of
also laughing?
things, and there's a lot of things that go against Gerard, like the team he played in and all of that. But like I think it's just a shame, a big slap for not winning it at least once. Because you can't be like, oh, someone is the best performance in Champions League and he hasn't won Champions League. How can you be the best performance without winning it? Like you need to win it. So I'm left with Viera and Lampard. Then I started looking at stats because
Bruno. I
I
mean, yeah.
started looking at stats and all of that.
We go with
And
Bruno.
yeah, but when we look at someone like Bruno, right? Bruno has dips. It doesn't just go season out. Like there was a time Lampard was providing like 20, 20 to 25 goals and assists for 10 years straight. That's almost impossible to do. Like then go look at his record. Go look at
Slap in his face. You
20
know what I
between
mean?
20 to 25 goals and assists every year for like
Contribute.
nine
That's
nine
pretty
like
stats. Oh, you mean combined?
Combine.
combined go
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
assist like
Oh,
that's what I'm saying, go and assist
oh.
every year. So at that point, I'm going to look at you. I'm going to be like, oh, because if you say you rate Lampard and if you say you don't rate Lampard but you rate Salah, I don't know what you're watching then. Because there's just some players that have so much influence in the team. For a central midfielder, he wasn't playing as a 10 to be getting, like, even it's just goals.
I mean,
Yeah, you are just start padding. But with assist also, like they even most of the attackers and most of the people we're talking about as the greatest forward, none of them even have assists and goals on record the way he had it. So I was just looking at goals and I'm like, maybe goals. Then I saw the assist too. That means he was also assisting. And I'm like, okay. I have to put him over Vera in that place. But that doesn't mean I didn't look at talent, because when we look at talent, there are a lot of players that have talents that didn't achieve anything. Does that mean they're better?
yes.
Like you need it. No. Talent doesn't matter at the end of your career. It's what you have done with that
Oh,
talent
that's
that
what I mean.
matter.
Like, it doesn't mean they're better. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
The
doesn't
opposite.
mean you're better.
Please
So
tell him.
if you can be as talented as anything,
Neymar.
if Messi didn't, okay, thank you. Name a perfect example. Neymar had all the talent, but he achieved something, but he didn't achieve what we were expecting him to. So if you don't have talent and at the end of your career you achieve something incredible,
Testify.
I'm going to look at you and be like, oh, forget about talent. What did you do in your career? That's what matters. Because when you are 40, you are no more like a golden boy. Nobody cares about that. What did you do with your talent? So I looked at Lampard. I didn't look at talent for anybody on this. It's what they did.
Hold on.
And
So
what
who is your top three? Who is your
my
top
top
three?
three is Gerad, Lampard, and Viera.
So
I
Viera's on
dropped.
top?
Yeah, no. Lampard is on top. I dropped Gerard because he didn't win a single
second.
Premier League. You need to. And then Viera is like my second. Then I went with Lampard as my first.
Okay. It's funny, with everything you said, you mentioned Roy Keane. I'm like, I wouldn't even put Roy Keane in the top 10. I feel like that bro was just a ruffian. He's just like legit. Like I just think
If
he
you
was
look
there
at
just
the
fouling
team,
people.
okay,
And
no.
on some
If you
Henderson
look
shit,
at the
I'm
team,
leadership. Okay.
no, if you
You're
look at the
leading-
team, if you take Roy Keane out of there, that team suffers.
Because
And
he
what
didn't
he-
injure the best player of the opposition. That's what it was there. Because he didn't injure the best player of the opposition.
But his impact and what he achieved, and that's why I always say, like, you have to look at everything combined. His presence, because that time they were not playing tiki taka and all of that
Yeah.
type of
We have-
football. He
we have
was
to go to
combative, and he was combative. So, and he made good. Even Viera, to an extent, Viera was. If you talk about Viera, people always talk about him. The first thing they talk about is being combative.
He was
People
combative,
never
but
talk-
he had
People
that...
never talk. No. The first thing you don't talk about, except like people like me that like basically he might be an Arsenal player, but I adore him. Every time I play, I want to be like Viera because the way he just pick the ball up and just can run with the ball, move with the ball, and it's also combative. So things like that, and that's why like I believe DMs. We don't talk enough about like people that not DMs, but people that are a little bit more defensive.
Deeper.
We don't give them that credit in football. We'll just be like, it was combative. That thing takes skills.
That's further about that. All right. You've given us a lot of names here. Aminu,
Just a
let's
shout
see.
out.
Yeah, a lot of shout outs. Your shout out is more than your list. But Aminu, yeah, who are you guys and why?
I mean, like the midfield is a very difficult position to pick all time. Like Skip just mentioned, like we don't give enough love to
Makalele.
midfielders that do the dirty work and are the ones there protecting the team and being an engine for the team and connecting defense to attack like Rodri does. Obviously, Rodri hasn't done it long enough for him to be in the conversation, but I did like some of the names that Skip mentioned, from Viera to Keane. I think he forgot Scholes because he has a Scholes agenda. But I also put Scholes. I also put Scholes in there as an honorable mention for sure, because that's the one player that, when you talk about ability and skill, that's the one player that when you ask peers like who is the best midfielder in the world right now, a lot of peers at the time, like Xavi,
Zizou,
and
Zidane said it.
Yeah, a lot of his peers picked him because they really could appreciate the skill that he brought to the team. Now, if we are just looking at stats only, goals and assists, obviously Lampard is the GOAT. There's no argument there. However, we have to look deeper into his whole ability as a footballer, and to me, Lampard is just a gold star McTominay, a McTominay that can pass the ball and assist a little bit more. So for me, I wouldn't, and I'm not trying to disrespect him. He's actually one of the greatest in the Premier League. He definitely deserves to be an honorable mention and top 3, top 5.
If
But I wouldn't put
McTominay
in.
could pass the ball and actually score goals, it would be your best midfielder. Your best midfielder. So put some. If he can pass
He's Man U's
score,
highest goal scorer
it
this
will be
season. Calm
it will be
down.
your best midfielder. Like you people will be buying his shirts. He just putting it out there.
He's Man U's highest goal scorer this season. So I mean, only the assist is lacking. And Roy Keane wasn't just a ruffian that was kicking
Fowler.
people. That was part of the game back then. You could kick people. So him kicking people he wasn't the only one doing it. Viera did it. They all did it. But we've seen
Levels though.
some great
To the
captain performances by Keane
True.
to drag the team to victory in multiple occasions. I wouldn't just say he was a he
A
was a
kicker.
thug out there kicking people. That's not true. Um, Honorable mention to Giggs. I know this is controversial because he played most of his career on the wings, but later on he did drop to midfield as well. So he's won the most titles and he has the most assists all time. And he has like top three appearances. Is guys like what's his name, Milner, and someone
Barry?
else and Barry that are above him, both City players, and I don't even know, both City and Villa players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but again, I mentioned this in the previous part that we had when we were talking about best midfielders of all time. If we stop today, this guy would still have one of the greatest
Period.
careers
Who's
of all
this?
time, regardless. And
Who's
it
this?
might seem like it's recency bias
Bias.
kicking in, but for me, it's still KDB, man.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
Thank you. Thank you.
I hate
For
to
once
say
we
it's,
agree. Like,
I hate to say it because he plays for
yeah.
City, but when you look at his assist to game ratio, like it just blows all the other guys like Lampard and all these other guys out of the water. Like Lampard is number one in assists, but how many games, how many appearances did he have? Like obviously longevity is something that you can also give um Lampard as another, notch that he has over KDB. Especially now that KDB is picking up injuries like every single season. But just imagine if this guy could stay fit. See how everybody could feel the energy shift when he came off the bench in their last game against who
Newcastle.
Newcastle. Was it
It
Newcastle?
was Newcastle, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, even when he came off the bench, we all knew that something was going to happen in that game. And and when I talk about the other thing for me is the eye test. When I see the way he controls games, his ability on the ball, his passing range. Again, I mentioned this before. I can't think of many players in football history, forget the Premier League, in football history that are better passers of the ball than KDB. I'm talking about Messi, Xavi, Iniesta. These are the guys to me that are up there in terms of their ability to pass
Facts.
the ball. And KDB to me is up there with these guys as well. Um, and his finishing is just exquisite. So
Sublime. Left foot, right
it's
foot,
yeah, exactly. It's just
ground ball,
sublime.
hot shots, anything. Anything. Bro is a problem.
He is basically the the Zidane version of the EPL in terms
Mm-hmm.
of the class he has on the pitch,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, yeah, so for me, that eye test is what
Catch
makes
his
me
gift.
put KDB at number one.
Catchy. So we have one vote for KDB, one vote for, I want to say Viera. You had Viera, right?
No, we
Skip.
had the Lampard.
Lampard, oh,
Yeah, I
Lampard,
had
sorry.
Lampard. Yeah.
Lampard. After he disrespected Gerad. Catchy. I'm just
I
joking.
mean, for me, I have a controversial opinion. I think
Oh
for
no.
me, EPL ranks my number one as a forward, but to me, he was a midfielder. To me, Dennis Bergkamp is the most technically gifted footballer that's ever graced the EPL. Right, that's number one. Number two, I rate my midfielders on how they treat the ball. Right, Dennis Bergkamp treated the ball better than most of these guys on this list even treated their wives. Let's just put it that way. And this this
One of them,
guy
that's for
this guy
damn
was
sure.
giving telepathic passes. This guy was literally transforming the game before our eyes, right? So for me, like Dennis Beckham stands out. Like his stats are something insane. What, he has 87 goals and 94 assists in 13 EPL seasons, right? For me, that's so Dennis Beckham for me is my number one. Number two, I have Lampard. Number three, I have Gerard. The reason I have Lampard over Gerard, first of all, Lampard won more. Number one. Number two, consistency in terms of Lampard rarely ever missed games, especially once he broke into that Chelsea team. And for me, it takes a unique skill to arrive in the box. People just say, oh yes, arrive in the box. It's easier said than done. If it's just arrive in the box, everybody would arrive in the box and score. But this guy had a knack to smell when to arrive at the box at the right time, right? So that's where I give Lampard. Gerad, for me, I have Gerad number 3. Gerad, range of passing. Nobody can probably give a diagonal. Probably him and Scholes are probably one of the best in terms of giving those cross-diagonal passes, right? Yes, Gerad did not win, never won the EPL. But for me, in terms of people that can literally drag their team from nowhere, like some of those teams and some of those games that Gerad won for Liverpool. There are some games that they had that some horrible Liverpool team had no
no
business winning. Let's just put it that way, right? So I have Scholes number 4, partly because his stats are not as high, but in terms of if we're ranking just strictly on EPL, like Scholes was the one that made Man U tick to the extent that my guy retired. Ferguson was like, please come back and play, because Ferguson tried and bought Anderson, bought even this baby that is performing in AFCON, bought all these other bros, but nothing was sticking.
Baby.
I think the original plan was to replace Obi Mikel with Scholes, but since Chelsea stole him from right under us, Ferguson brought Scholes back. So for me, Scholes is my number 4. I have KDB right now at number 5. So for me, I think he still has more to do. And the reason I would say that is because I think in the really big games, I've not seen KDB turn up. Yeah, he can turn up and beat the Burnleys, the Southamptons. How many times have you turned up against Arsenal? How many times have you turned up against
Wait. He turns up against Arsenal.
What?
All the time. Like, don't even bounce the Arsenal.
Wait. No, but I'm saying, how many times has he turned up against the traditional big 6, if you can say that? Not that much.
Man,
Not that
Arsenal
much.
and Man U don't.
Ask Man U for sure.
Okay. I can actually make the argument that Bernardo Silva or even the original Silva that played for Man City turned up more against Man U than KDB. That's just my opinion, anyways. For me, my honorable mention, I have to mention Fabregas, because this guy broke into the Arsenal Invincible team at 17, 18, or even 16. This guy was balling from a very, very young age. He went to Barca, played a false 9, and then came back with Chelsea and won with Kante as well. So for me, Fabregas is an honorable mention as well. Last but not the least, I have to mention Roy Keane, because you removed Roy Keane from that team, from that Man U dynastic team, doing the dirty work. Let's just put it that way. The work that nobody wanted to do. Right? Scholes was the pretty face of the. Scholes was the one doing the nice, beautiful work, whereas Roy Keane was the one doing the dirty work. So for me, those are my honorable mentions. But my ranking is Dennis Beckham 1, Lampard 2, Gerrard 3, Scholes 4, KDB 5.
There are so many players, and it's very interesting that none of us have the same rankings. The people that keep getting repeated are Lampard and Gerrard specifically. But we'll get to that towards the end. And also, who are your guys?
Well, I mean, KDB is not a bad player, but is he really like a CM? I'm just asking. I don't know. Like, he seems to like float around that right half space to, in terms of pure CMs that are like, you think about CMs and what they did for their team. I don't think anybody touching Toure when he first joined City.
Toure.
That guy was everything you could possibly ever want a footballer all at once at the same time. Like, incredible player. If not for the juju that they were using on him, he might have had a longer career, but he was excellent. For me, the second person is Fabregas. Like, all your faves were not doing what he was doing at 16. In fact, the only reason why his career wasn't as long because he started too early, like Rooney. Like, he was truly, truly exceptional as a footballer. And I think that, people need to actually put more respect. If he had played on a better Arsenal team, we would have done so much more with that guy. And I think because he was actually dropping 20 goals this season
on top of having like 15 assists in a season. The thing that everybody is trying to add things for other players to get to. Like he was truly incredible at 19, and like this guy played false nine in a World Cup winning team. Like he was just too good. Like, he was just too good, man. Like insane player. And then the third person on my list is Viera. I mean, you can kind of tell the type of midfielders that I like midfielders that do all the jobs. I don't like players that like I'm only an 8, I'm only a 10. I don't really know. Like you have to defend, you have to attack, you have to play make. And Viera was all of those things. Just the two ahead of him were just a little bit more technical and better compared to him. That's my opinion. But then KDB is not bad. Like, if you were writing, someone was talking about how, like, he's one of the best passers of the world. I can think of like 20 players before getting to KDB in terms of being good at passing. Like,
name them. Let's hear them.
Jojo Shelby.
No, Gabi, Iniesta,
They're in the EPL.
In the EPL alone?
Yeah.
Yeah, EPL.
That's not how because you're comparing to Xavi and Iniesta, so you can't be.
I said those were that's the bar. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta. To me, those are the highest passers that I could think of at the time. And I
He's
think
not even the best passer in
his
his team. Like, Rodri is a better passer than this.
That's not true.
No, see, KDB's passing is to get you to the goal post. But it ignores the fact that the quality of who he's passing to actually makes those passes turn into goals. Like, if he was passing to Nketiah, he's not getting 15 assists in a season. It's not even possible.
That's not true.
It's true.
My brother, you need to go, what you just said, you need to quote it and just put it somewhere. Because that's what, every time people diss Bruno, that is what I always say. It takes two to make a pass. You have to remember who these guys are passing to. When you're saying, this guy, the pass, he missed the pass, he's just doing it. It takes two to make a pass.
The quality.
Remember who he's passing
to.
I'm not. No, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. We bought Ozil just after his prime. And if Ozil was passing the ball to Henry, Ozil would have broken the record for assists by like December.
Easy.
But because Giroud will go 18 games without a goal and Walker to be injured for 20 games, and then we'll have to play some random academy kid as striker for most of the season, what do you expect the guy to do? Nothing. So I'm not saying that KDB is not good. See, right now, nobody's touching that guy's chain. He's the best that we have. It doesn't mean that he's the best the league has seen. It's not even possible. Like, so, like, we're not even talking about like Gerad, who, despite the fact that like, he's so good, it's just like he's the reason why his team didn't win the league several times.
Lampard, once. Calm down.
Please, if he was that good, he would have helped them win the league. Competition was not that crazy. Like, if you want to say what's his face, Lampard, I mean, it was great, but like,
remember
Ozil had the passing thing in Germany at Werder Bremen, where they also had nobody as an attacker. Please, KDB could not hack.
Ozil played with Benzema and Ronaldo.
But that's not how we knew him.
We knew him because of Mo. After 2010 World Cup.
KDB could not hack it in a title-winning Chelsea team. He had to go come back to another overpowered team to start shining.
No, have you forgotten he was the Bundesliga Player of the Year when he was in Germany?
He came back to Premier League in a team that was like winning everything, not for him to be good, is my point.
So your argument is if KDB was in any other Premier League team now,
he would not be. He would be.
His stats would be lower, obviously. Goals and assists would be down, but will he still show the same ability on the ball that he shows at?
Bruno. Like, Bruno passes really nicely sometimes. I mean, I will tell you that Bruno has absolutely no tempo in his passes, so he's always blasting the ball for no reason.
Wow.
but like the difference between KDB and Bruno is that there is who they are passing to, and then the control or tempo in their passing. One is at 4 and one is at like 7 to 8.
Mhm.
That's it. One person can take control of the game. But like if you actually go and watch him, what is he actually doing? It's really long passes to players that are able to run anywhere they want to run to, and they score.
Thank you.
You
Thank you,
can't
sir.
think of anything else
Thank
that
you.
iconic that KDB did.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
all,
you.
oh, he scored that ball from long range by just tapping it in when everybody would have blasted it, or he played this really nice pass around somebody. Any other midfielder will call, oh, remember that time he ran through midfield? Remember that time where he blocked that ball and then turned it into attack? Remember that time
Toure.
where he just had like 13 passes and nobody could touch him? Nobody thinks about KDB
I
that way.
don't
That's
think you
not
can
CM.
say any of
I
those
think it's
things
true.
about Ozil.
No, but that's what
Ozil.
you can say that about Toure. You
But I
can say
didn't
those things
put
about
Ozil
Toure.
on my team. I
You
didn't
can say
put
that about
Ozil as
Toure.
best midfielders in the league. I
Yeah.
didn't. I'm just telling you, there's not much of a difference between them when you come down to it, right? Everybody else that we've mentioned, they actually, even Gerad I'm dragging, there were times when that guy was just unplayable. He would just decide, okay, I'm not losing, and what are you
Mhm.
going to do about it? I not just, oh, he scored the goal or he assisted the goal. It was
He
that
was
he
defending as
just
well.
took over the entire game. Like, you should watch. I mean, you guys are older than me, so you probably watch like Fabregas versus Juve when we almost won Champions League, whatever the hell. Like, sorry, I'm better than all of you, and that was the end of it. Like, that was the end of it. That was the game that retired Viera. Like, just like, yeah, no, okay, this guy, no, they played against each other actually in that match. So yeah, no, like the guy just made Viera like a footnote in history on that day. So like KDB is not that. It doesn't mean KDB is excellent at what he does, but he's not a CM. He's a 10. He's more like a 10/7 in my
Well,
opinion.
I can agree that he's not well rounded like the other midfielders that we've mentioned. That's that for sure. And we also mentioned how, you know, midfielders that do the dirty work don't get as much love as they should. So on that note, I can agree that maybe we should knock KDB down a few pegs because he doesn't do all the things on the pitch like some of these other guys. So for that, me, I'm fine with that as well.
Is it fair to say he doesn't do those things because he doesn't need to?
He can't do them.
I have a Rodri on my team to do that, so I
He
don't
can't.
need to.
I mean,
If they put him in that Rodri role, they'll destroy City. So he can't do it. Let's be real.
no, but like, see, I think he broke the assist record last season, right?
Did he? I don't even remember.
Did
He's the
he?
highest
In a
each
single
assistant.
season. In a
Yeah,
single
in this
season.
in the season,
Yeah, so
yeah.
he always does that.
No,
Did he?
that was he broke it, or was it? I think he
I
broke
think
it
he
last
tied
season.
it. No, did he?
I think
He
he
tied
tied. I
it.
think
Single
he tied
season.
Henry. He tied Henry
He tied
that
Henry.
season.
Yeah,
I think
in
he
a
tied it.
single season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He tied a striker who wasn't passing to anybody. like when you have Haaland on your team, and when Haaland is not fit, you have Havertz, walk opening Havertz, and you're passing to Mahrez, and you're passing to all those
You're passing
guys.
to Sterling, you're passing to Sane. I
Like
remember all those long
at
passes.
their
Yeah.
best, like he takes on the set pieces. At some point, you just have to look at him and say, okay, he's a very,
But
very
all that applies
good
to
player.
Henry too. It's not like Henry wasn't passing to anyone and he was obviously taking set pieces too then.
No, I agree. I'm just saying that, but we're also not calling Henry like the best midfielder. He wasn't midfielder. So my point is that, like,
No, drop deep.
Skip.
we can move this guy higher up in terms of position. He's not a CM, and that just we're like, oh, is he one of the best 10s in the league? Sure, why not? We can start arguing with him and Beckham and the rest of them, but like, if you drop him into CM, he doesn't hold water to those guys, in my
Skip.
opinion.
Isn't it fair to say that he is being an expert in long passes? If you drop him to CM, he'll be able to do those things.
Playing CM, central midfielder. Okay.
Mhm.
So, remember John Joe Shelby?
How you stop this? Can you stop?
I'm done. That's all I have to say. Because when you're going, just start to the caution me as one of the best CM, bro. Oh, that Adam guy that was in
Charlie Adam?
Blackpool.
Charlie
Charlie
Adam.
Adam. Yeah. Me, come on now. Let's be serious.
Those guys were specialists. It's not the same thing.
Oh, God.
Slip to the pass long ball. That's what he said.
Yeah. So when it comes to KDB, I think you need to play like all these incredible players we're talking about. If the team wasn't playing to their strength or they weren't put in a position to perform, they will not reach that stage. So let's put it as the way it is. Like there's certain like KDB now, you can't go playing like beside Rodri, then expect KDB to be doing. Is KDB meant to be chasing? We'll be chasing midfield, running back to like, oh, Rodri is out of position. Rodri is out of position. I'm going to be chasing. Like, come on, like KDB is not suited for that. And the kind of Guardiola playing like a little bit in the wide out. He played him in like 10. He played him. So like, it's hard. He's still a midfielder, but he's not your traditional central midfielder. But we can still put, and that's why the question regarding Giggs, that's why I asked it few days ago. Like, usually Giggs, we can look at Giggs and be like, Giggs is a midfielder, but because he's more of like a wide midfielder, the way he plays. Not like your typical inside forward or like your typical. Like, it was more of like a wide midfielder, but we're not looking at that to classify him as a central midfielder. So we're classifying him as more of like a winger now, if we're going to still put him in a bracket. So, and telling people maybe if they've played Giggs or somewhere else is unfair. So I'll just look at him as where he's being played. He can't pick where he's playing. And if we look at what he has done, he's still a good shout. And also, I remember someone mentioned Yaya Toure. Yaya Toure, good player. I love, again, another player I like. But if we look at Yaya Toure, I don't know why people always mix this up about Yaya Toure. He only had 2 great seasons in Premier League. Like, go look at the rest of the seasons. Go look at his rest of the seasons.
If not, you start play at 45, you're going to play Premier League football. What is that?
Again, but that's his problem. But that's his problem. But that's his problem. I won't be putting age. I won't be. No. I can't be putting age. Be like, oh, your age because this thing. Like, he only had 2 great seasons. So, Rodri, if I'm going to put someone, I'm going to put Rodri. I have 4 great seasons. Like, I'm going to put like, yes, Rodri that have been here for 5 years. His first season was horrible, but the last 4 years, Rodri have been incredible. So yeah, who
had the higher peak, Rodri or Yaya Toure?
What Rodri did last season and the season and he's doing for Man City is so incredible. To remove Rodri from that team, they are suffering. Man City are like, put KDB, remove Rodri from that pool. See, they bought Kevin Phillips. They've gotten how many people and they still couldn't fill.
Skip. I think the difference between Rodri and Toure and why I would take Toure at his peak. I like midfielders that can drive. I don't see Rodri driving. We're looking at
attacking. I'm saying the attacking, and this goes back to the original statement I made that we always prioritize the attackers over the other people that do the dirty work. Because Rodri doesn't pick the ball up down, that's saying he's not doing those other things that
Toure plays just as deep, but does that. You know what I mean?
No. Toure wasn't doing the defensive work Rodri was doing. Let's keep it real. Toure has to like. Lampard too wasn't doing the defensive work the Makalele, the Mikel, and all of those guys were doing. So let's keep it real. It's only Kante you can be like, we go win ball, pick ball, run across the whole pitch with the ball. Like, but he won't shoot. We just pass the ball. Kante is the only one, and Viera, that you can say are doing that. But the others they are not doing that. So if we're like keeping it 100%, they are not doing that. So Yaya Toure only had the great season. So I don't care if he's 85 when he was up, but he only had 2 years. So, and I'm going to judge him like based on that 2 years. And going back to Fabregas, like I don't think anybody is a bigger Fabregas fan on this podcast than me. Like since this guy since he made his debut, I followed him all through his life. Like
His Chelsea debut?
No. Arsenal debut. When Chelsea wanted to buy this guy, I actually got a jersey of him. Like, I don't even like. You guys have seen it. It's only Fab 4. Like, he might have played for Arsenal, but I kind of forgot about his Arsenal history because he ended up playing for Chelsea. It was incredible. But yeah, Fabregas was in the honorable mention, and I know Edosa. But my only issue with Edosa with Fabregas is that Fabregas never reached the peak. I expected him to reach at 18. When he was that 18, he never reached. Because when I looked at Fabregas, I was seeing Fabregas as someone that could be best in the world at that time. With what he was doing at that age, at that early age of like, he was always a player that should have gone and won world best. Because this guy will wake up, go into the pitch and be like, "Oh, I'm not."
Messi was.
Wait. Yeah, then Iniesta go win it. Then Modric go win it when Messi was there. Other people go and did it. They did it, so it should like it should have done it. No excuse. Like other people did it, so I expect them to do it. Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, Messi was there." Other people did it. Like Modric did it. Iniesta did it. So what's the excuse? Like Messi too wasn't there, or Messi died, or Ronaldo died during that period, and they resurrect like like yeah. Like,
Oh my god.
so
Messi
that
was
was
Spanish. Iniesta wouldn't have won Jack.
that was the expectation I had for him, and he never got there. So that's the only armor. But like, yeah, but that boy when he was that young,
That boy.
incredible.
This guy,
That's it. Like, yeah.
calm down.
He's a true fan.
Calm down, easy. He said that boy, that young boy. Calm down.
I'm waiting for Arsene Wenger, catching up with Arsene Wenger, him and that pedophile. I'm waiting for an episode,
Oh my god!
a documentary on that.
Oh my god! It's a captain of
Oh my
Arsene Wenger.
god.
Yeah, just
my
show your
God.
true Chelsea
Oh my
colors.
god. Kachi. So with everything everybody has said, what do you think? Are you gonna augment your list? Are you gonna try and slide Bruno in there, given the passing ranges?
No. Bruno hasn't. Bruno's probably maybe top 20,
Jesus.
but not. Bruno is not there yet. But for me, something to add regards to Fabregas, right? Fabregas
Bruno
did
is not
it
in
when
top 50.
English.
Just let us put it out there. Bruno is
That's
not
what I'm
top
just saying.
50.
Just leave Bruno out of the conversation. So I'm just saying, with regards to Fabregas, I think context also helps. So Fabregas came into the league when English teams were not even buying Spanish players to even play midfield. This was when it was like mostly the big physical, like English players, or with Arsene Wenger, him having the French players, right? Fabregas broke into that team. And if you even look at the profile of players, that's nice to sign them. Fabregas he's short and skinny. Whereas compared to like all the Arsenal invisible guys that were big or bulky or big, skinny, and you get what I mean? So for me, Fabregas, in a way, he was a pioneer in the sense that he came into the league when Spanish guys were not coming into the league at that age. If there were even any Spanish players at that time were staying in La Liga, they weren't coming to EPL. That's number one. Regards to Yaya Toure, unfortunately, I have to agree. When I looked at Yaya Toure's numbers, Yaya Toure had only 2 good seasons, like 13-14 and 14-15, in terms of just his production. But I do like Yaya Toure. But yeah, no, my list remains the same. I think for me, if we're going by my definition, like by the definition everybody's going by, I don't think Bergkamp will make my list then. Yeah, I guess it will be a forward, if you can put it like that. But yeah, I think I stick with my list.
So what does KDB have to do to make it for you guys? Do more defensive work and drive?
KDB needs 3 more seasons like what he did last year to climb my ranking to maybe like my number 2
more
or number 3.
This guy's 31, right? I ain't doing that. I mean,
because like in terms of all the guys, just allow us to my final point. In terms of all the guys we've mentioned, right, that has played multiple positions, I think Gerad is probably the one that has played multiple positions. Gerad started right back for Liverpool. This guy has played every position, but even I think at some point in the Toure years, wasn't he playing as a forward?
Some of them
he was playing like as a Gerad has played. So that's what I'm saying. My thing is, if you take KDB and put him in the teams of the 90s and the early 2000s, KDB doesn't make it. But take Lampard, take Gerad, all those guys, and drop them in this generation. Bro, come on now.
I'm sure you guys aren't just seeing this thing with nostalgia glasses. You know how you guys do with
Nah, it's
nostalgia
not
glasses.
nostalgia. It's not nostalgia. KDB is a system bro. He's a system player. And he should even be assisting more. Come on, we Haaland in your team.
I'm not with you on that with the system, bro, but I agree with you with
He's
a
a
lot of the
system bro. He
things.
couldn't break into the Chelsea team. He's a system bro. Him and Salah are the
That's
same thing. They're
Mourinho.
system
Can we
bro.
stop all these things?
Okay.
You watch Mourinho's
Boss
interviews,
merchant.
right? You know Mourinho's interview, right? We don't need to get into that. You watched his interview where he was like, everybody blamed me for selling Salah. You guys have to remember, I bought Salah. I didn't sell him, I bought him. He's the one that wanted to go. I
Hear
bought
any
him.
of that?
But
Why did you want to
Mourinho
leave?
didn't
Because
buy
he
him.
was paid.
Mourinho didn't buy
Where?
him.
He said he
Mourinho
bought
did,
him.
he
He said
did
he
not
bought
buy
him.
him.
He said
It
he
was
bought him.
no, it was Enamoro,
Michael
the
Emenalo.
guy that Eminalo. That
The
was
Nigerian
guy that
guy,
was
yeah.
on.
Who was the coach?
It did not buy him.
Who was
And
the
also,
coach? I don't understand.
Don't
the
forget,
coach?
he
The
was
coach
on
was not in
loan.
charge of transfer.
Don't forget, he was on loan.
Stop it, Kachi. Stop it, Kachi.
Wait. You know, he was on loan that he came back. So when we bought him, it wasn't at Chelsea. It was on loan. They sent him on loan. It was when Mourinho came. That was when he came back. So when we bought him, Mourinho wasn't the coach yet. He was on loan. Don't forget about that. He
Well, that's
did
what
not
Mourinho
buy
said.
him.
I'm literally just repeating
Okay,
what he
yeah.
said.
I can
If
quote that thing
You want
for
to go
you.
argue?
And
You want to
back
go
then,
argue with the
and
guy
back
that
then,
was in the
and
box?
back then, when he was playing Oscar a little bit wide, and he was doing all like, you know what? Don't even let me go to that.
Yeah.
Mourinho is the master of revisionist history. I mean, he didn't play those guys, and it is what it is. They left because they wanted game time, and they both went on and
No,
flourished.
Salah
and
was
had
horrible.
bitter
It
careers.
wasn't Mourinho. Salah's on. KDB was good in the game. Salah was piss poor. I've never seen anybody that I've seen Salah be like, oh, this guy was going to go into great things, go do great things. But he went like Salah, Salah was.
Well, he
you
took
remember
off right after he left. When he joined Roma,
because he
didn't
was
start
in
balling
Serie
right away?
A. Serie A where
Thank you.
Oh, so
See,
The
KDB
leagues,
was
though.
in Bundesliga.
The leagues, though. The leagues. See
no,
Sancho.
but when KDB was
the
in
leagues,
Chelsea
man. Yes,
and he
Sancho
Sancho
hasn't
played,
done anything yet.
when KDB was
I
at
hear he's
Chelsea, he was playing well. But Mourinho just preferred people that could run back a lot. Again, that's why I said
Yes, yes.
but Salah's one was different. Salah's one was peace. Like Salah was shooting and the ball was going to corner flag. Like I remember Salah was piss poor. The only thing he did right was the goal he scored against Arsenal when they brought him in from the bench.
Yeah, that's it. I remember that goal. That was his first goal in EPL, eh? Yeah, that was his first goal against Arsenal. And the rest is history. Okay, enough about Mourinho and Salah and them. We're talking about midfielders here. Edosa, did you want to say something? Oh, because you took yourself off mute. Okay, so you guys have it, and we haven't agreed on anything really, because Skip has Lampard. Aminu has... Who do you have? I've forgotten.
I had KDB, but listening to these,
Haters.
not haters, I'll say for once, for once in this podcast history, this football minds, these football geniuses, just for this episode, I think they've convinced me that maybe I'm ranking him too high, and I don't think I'd stick with him in number one. I would still need to think who I'd slot in at number one ahead of him, but I do agree with the premise that no matter what KDB does, in terms of being an actual footballer, he is not a complete midfielder. So I think because of that, I probably wouldn't. I'm not going to stick with him in number one. I'm tempted to say that would
Gerad?
slide Gerard into number
Gerad.
one,
That's
but
what
I
I'm
mean
saying.
the trophies thing again. Like you got to have some silverware. But
I mean,
this,
Gerad is used to sliding, so it's on brand.
if he didn't slip that one time, who knows?
Nah,
History
man,
would have been
nah.
different. But I
Nah.
mean, and it's hard for me to go with the gold star McTominay just because I don't feel he had
Thank
the
you.
same
He's not even
the
in my
same
top five, to be
ability
honest.
as the other people that we're talking
Do you
about.
know the
Even
funny
though
thing?
he won titles and he has the most goals and assists. So
Do you know the funny
it's
thing?
tough.
Again, we start Lampard's short passes completed and long passes completed is as high as Gerard. I saw it like is as high. So I don't know where you guys say he doesn't pass the ball. Short and long pass.
Defensively.
He was
Defensively, though.
Lampard always played between 1 and 2. That's where he played. most of his life with them
But
to
Gerad
the
was
center, like
everywhere.
Lampard played in better teams. If
because
you
Gerard
compare
was
Lampard
playing beside
in
the
Liverpool
striker,
teams,
and
we'll
he
see
wasn't even
what
he
he would have
wasn't
done.
able to even put assist on plate that much or goals. Like, so what are you
Ah,
talking
relax,
about?
relax.
Those
Yes,
are
So he
said
was
when you are
playing like
crossing the
so.
ball, it matters who you are crossing to. Lampard played in better teams than Gerrard, so I mean,
that matters a lot, and
so
I'm glad you guys agree with that
it's
because
tough.
that's always my defense with Bruno. Remember who he's passing to.
We're not
That's
going to
always my
expand.
defense
We're
with
not going to
Bruno.
Let's
expand
not
this.
Remember who he's
let's
passing
not
to.
revision Bruno's
We're not going
career,
Remember who
please.
he's passing to. Remember who he's passing to.
Yeah, 30
Fred?
goal Rashford.
Fred.
30 goal Rashford. How many assists did he have in that 30 goals Rashford scored last year?
I don't know. I know during
Exactly.
the period that and Ericsson was injured. Ericsson was still our highest assister between
Shout out to
November and
Eriksen
January.
too.
Ericsson was our highest assister. Legit, bro. Why is this guy laughing? Beg. Hold on. Okay, Kachi, bring us home.
In terms of what, like my ranking,
Overall, what's your thoughts? Have they changed your mind? What do you think? The complete midfielder.
I mean, I think most complete for me has to be Gerard. Number one, number two, Lampard. You can't count out Lampard. Consistency is a gift. I hate when people punish a player for being consistent and not being injured. It's not his fault. He worked hard at it, right?
Are you a LeBron fan?
Of course, I'm a LeBron fan. I love players that don't get injured. I hate players that don't get injured. No, sorry, I love players that don't get injured. Like, if you are consistent, that means you are taking care of your nutrition, your diet, you are keeping yourself where you need to be, right? So for me, I guess Lampard, Gerrard, and then number three would be. I don't want to put KDB, but I guess KDB. I don't want to put KDB, but I guess KDB.
Well, we do have to bring the
So
episode
your
to an end.
number one dropped out of your top three altogether.
No, Dennis Beckham. I removed him. No, because he's a forward. I removed him.
Yeah.
I removed him there. But by 90s definition, it was a.
Because if we are talking about Beckham, I was going to put Silva there. David Silva. I was going to mention it. Like, if we're mentioning about those guys, I would have put David Silva. I would have put Giggs too there. But like, we're not like. Yeah, so we're not talking about those guys. So like those kind of like positioning players. Yeah. So we're not talking about like their positioning is weird in that like sense. Like they're meant to be playing. They're meant to be playing, but like where they start, like the way Edosa calls Salah a striker, like their position is weird. Like you cannot just where they are playing. Where they are playing, okay, is Messi a striker, a 10 or a winger?
He's a forward. Whatever the hell that means.
Messi don't have position. Messi doesn't have position.
He's a forward.
Salah is a striker.
He doesn't have
down
position.
that hill every single day of the week.
Position. You cannot use Messi's. Let me just put it this way: you cannot use Messi's highlights to teach little kids where to position themselves on the field. You can't. This guy was collecting balls from position you should not be collecting ball from. And Guardiola only made that accommodation because he's Messi. Let's be honest. Any other player, he will tell you go and stand where I asked you to stand. If you don't stand there, he'll take you off. Exactly. So
okay. All right. So for now, what I'm hearing is Gerard. I really don't want to give this to Lampard. I wouldn't give this to Lampard. Like, I don't want to give this to Lampard. I want to give it to Lampard.
Funny enough, you are the biggest Salah fan here. You are the biggest Salah fan here, and you are always talking about his number. And now you're going to give. Please, someone take his video of this. Next time you're talking about Salah, this is what I'm going to play.
Give it to Lampard. I just can't. It can't be Lampard. My goodness. Oh, it can't be Lampard. Lampard. I don't like the lack of deep. His lack of he's not deep at all. He doesn't play anywhere deep at all. He plays too forward for me to consider him a complete.
But here's the thing: can I just say Lampard most of his time? No, Lampard hardly play at the 10. He was always beside a defensive midfielder. It was deeper
Yeah.
than the KDB and than Gerad that was beside Torres. It was deeper than like no homo, but like it was deeper than that. He played a little bit.
Can I pause? Can I pause?
Hey,
That
it's
was
a
an
family show.
shout out, but
This is a family show.
But like it was
Was
a
he?
little bit back, like more. It wasn't as forward, but like I just don't know how he did it. That is always there at the
There
right
to
moment.
score. Mm.
And his assists, like to be honest, I've always talked about Lampard goal, but I never pay attention to the assist.
So
Then
it's-
I was looking at this, I'm like, wait. Then I went to go watch all his assists and all of that, and I'm like, people have lied to me because I never pay attention to most his
Assists.
assists, and I'm like, oh,
Wow.
people have lied to me. If he's putting this number up assists, then it's not just a stat. It's just not more
Yeah.
about stat, because if any player is putting that goal and assist on record right now,
Bruno.
everybody will be like, oh yeah, definitely, I want him in my
Yeah.
team. I
Fernandes,
want that in my
Fernandes.
Exactly.
team. And so
Bruno
yeah,
Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes. Okay.
Bruno
So you guys-
hasn't reached Lampard
Aye.
number. Okay, all right.
Love it. So you guys are giving this into Lampard. You guys are giving this to Lampard. I'm gonna.
Trudy, it's okay. There are some
Yeah.
guys that no matter how much you want to hate on them, you just have to give it to them. It's like, let me use a basketball analogy. It's just like Steph Curry. It's unfair. He has a pretty wife. He can shoot 3-pointers from everywhere. His life is just not fair sometimes. His father played basketball.
But like
His
he's
brother
actually good though. That's the difference. Like yeah.
Exactly, but that's what I'm
I
saying.
mean,
It's just not fair.
If you
Some people like Lampard, you want to hate on him, but it's like his life is not
I'm
fair.
not-
But
I'm not
He
hating
owns-
on him.
he-
I'm just
he
saying
owns-
that they are better players than him. All he had was he
But
joined
here's
a
the
very
thing.
good team at a
We're
young
talking
age.
about. We guys are looking at when you say they're better, you are just looking at talent. Some like when we're talking about goals, your talent is out of the question. Like talent and what you did shouldn't be like is what you achieve and what you did. That's just it. It's based
And I-
on that.
but Skip, can I just say, for me,
Because you doing leg over in the middle of the pitch.
No,
and
that's
doing
not
all
talent.
that, and
That's not talent.
Or doing
Like-
or like
It's work
you
ethic.
turning,
Ryan
being
Giggs
press
and his
resistance.
11
Premier League.
how many leagues did you win? 13,
13.
11, 13 league titles. He's not a better winger than Salah or something like that. It's not the
I
better
thought you
winger
were going
than
to say the Newcastle dude, Almeros, the
Almiron.
Almiron doesn't have talent in the same. See,
now
cannot-
we're looking at recency bias. If you are going to
you
disrespect
you
Giggs
cannot
like that,
achieve.
After
You
I
cannot
beat
achieve.
Arsenal, that work in the Epic Cup.
You cannot achieve the heights of any career without abundance of talent. That's just
Yeah.
hard work is only to a certain level that it can take you. So yes, Lampard was good, was great even, but he's not the best midfielder that the league has ever seen. That's just the truth of the matter. Because there are players that were better than him. Like it is just what it is. Like So for me, I said yeah, but you guys said because he was only shining for two
And he was
seasons.
84. And he was
But then
84.
he was like 45 for those 2 seasons. I don't know what Lampard was doing.
And 45.
But then even there, you still have players like Fabregas who did it as a kid, came back, did it as an adult on the same team that Lampard was. They played together, right? And no, really
Oh, word. Oh, that's interesting. I thought he did.
interesting. I would have thought they
Scholes
played
did
together.
that too, by the way. Did it as a kid, came back as an adult and did just saying. Scholes
Tired,
did that.
came back.
I want
Who
to
has
think,
been-
yeah.
in fact, let's
Can
put
I just put one
Scholes
caveat?
number one.
If we are doing this, including Champions League, Paul Scholes probably has the best Champions League of all these guys. Just to provide context, go and watch Paul Scholes in Champions League. His top 10 goals, and you come back and talk to me.
But then you come across some random Porto player having a better Champions League career than some Arsenal player that never won the league, or never won Champions League. Like knockout competition is like you're just lucky with who you
Like,
get for the most part.
See
Right?
Hawk and them.
Right? So if
Bro,
we,
don't say lucky. No, it's not lucky.
no, it's lucky. Like look at who City played in Champions League final when they finally had a team. What is that?
When I
Only
was
for us
saying
to find
it,
out.
when I was
Just want
saying
to
it, you
find
said
out
I
the
was
goalkeeper
hating.
is. Yeah, I hate to. Just want to find out that the goalkeeper is complete nonsense. And then I'm watching how they scored.
All I'm gonna say, Sha, is if you guys give it to Lampard, then that you're just saying that McTominay has something to walk up to. I mean, he has a chance. So
I'm being outvoted. I'm not giving it to I'm not giving it to
For McTominay to be Lampard, he needs to go back and be reborn and reincarnated and come out as Frank Lampard. It's never happening.
Running, defending, all aspects of the sport.
I beg. Turnover. All right, we're supposed to end this 10 minutes ago. Looks like you guys have been outvoted. You gave it to Lampard. I'll be very interested to see what Dami says in the comments, what everybody says in the comments as to who the best midfielder we've seen in the Premier League history is. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, support the channel through Instagram and YouTube. And as always, continue to love football. Bye-bye.